Good evening, a very warm welcome to you wherever you are watching us from. This is an English edition of Dalsan TV and my name is Abdelrazak Ali. Let's have a look at some of the stories that are making headlines here in Somalia. Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud arrives in Nairobi. Somalia allocates land to China for embassy expansion. Ethiopia and Uganda sign military cooperation. EU commits £37 million in humanitarian aid crisis hit Somalia. Welcome back. Now, the Somali President, Dr. Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, has arrived in Nairobi, Kenya to participate in the year's United Nations Environmental Assembly. During his stay, President Mohamud will engage in bilateral side meetings with other heads of state and government to strengthen ties and explore opportunities for cooperation on environmental issues. Our reporter has more on this.
President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud of Somalia has arrived in Nairobi to participate in the annual United Nations Environment Assembly, where he aims to engage in discussions with other world leaders to strengthen ties and explore opportunities for cooperation on environmental issues. The president's visit is not only focused on environmental matters but also aims to address the challenges hindering peace, stability, and sustainable development in the region. President Hassan's visit to Nairobi signifies the importance of Somalia places on global environmental concerns and its commitment to cooperating with other nations to tackle pressing challenges. President Hassan's visit Nairobi provides an opportunity for Somalia to actively engage in global discussions on environmental conservation and sustainable development by participating in the United Nations Environment Assembly and engaging in bilateral discussions with other world leaders. President Hassan aims to strengthen ties, explore opportunities for cooperation, and find common ground on pressing issues as the world grapples with the environmental crisis. The presence of President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud of Nairobi serves as testament to Somalia's commitment to global environmental efforts and its determination to address regional challenges.
Now, in a significant development aimed at deepening the historical ties between Somalia and China, the federal government of Somalia has allocated additional land within the Aden Adda International Airport for the expansion of the Chinese embassy in Mogadishu. In a significant development aimed at deepening the historical ties between Somalia and China, the federal government of Somalia has allocated additional land within the Aden Adda International Airport to the Chinese government for the expansion of its embassy building in Mogadishu. The handover ceremony was officiated by Somalia's Transport and Civil Aviation Minister Fardousa Osman Igel and attended by the Charge d'Affaires of the Chinese Embassy, Chen Wendi. Minister Igel emphasized that this step signifies the commitment to further enhancing the relationship between the two countries and strengthening cooperation in various sectors. The land allocation specifically aims to facilitate the expansion of the current Chinese embassy in Mogadishu, with a focus on improving service delivery to the Somali people. The expanded embassy will enhance capabilities in areas such as visa, ultimately benefiting both countries. By providing a larger and more advanced facility, China aims to bolster its ability to support and engage with Somalia effectively. Expressing gratitude for the land allocation, the representative from the Chinese embassy emphasized that this move will strengthen the cooperation and relations between Somalia and China.
Your Excellency, on behalf of the Chinese embassy, I declare that we accept and take over this piece of land. And we believe this new stretch of land will be very helpful for us to expand our functions into completion, which will be very, very beneficial to our two countries' cooperation and for our two countries' relationship.
The representative reaffirmed China's commitment to standing by Somalia in its pursuit in peace and prosperity. China has been a staunch supporter of the federal government of Somalia, providing significant funding for development projects and actively participating in humanitarian activities to assist those affected by various disasters across the country. Somalia and China established diplomatic relations shortly after Somalia gained independence from Italy in 1960. Somalia was among the African countries that actively supported China's bid for a seat at the United Nations. The Chinese government has consistently demonstrated its commitment to assisting the federal government of Somalia in various areas, including education, health, and development. This support has been manifested through initiatives such as the provision of scholarships, donations of military equipment, and collaborative efforts aimed at fostering socio-economic progress in Somalia. The land allocation to China for the expansion of its embassy in Mogadishu signifies a new chapter in the enduring friendship between Somalia and China. The governments of Ethiopia and Uganda have signed a memorandum of understanding on cooperation. The ministers of the two countries signed the pact in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Our reporter has more on this. The governments of Ethiopia and Uganda have taken a significant step towards enhancing military cooperation through the signing of a memorandum of understanding. The agreement aimed at strengthening bilateral ties was confirmed by the head of the Ethiopian Defense Force. The recent visit of a high-level delegation from Uganda Army to Addis Ababa paved the way for this landmark agreement. Led by Uganda's Minister of Defense Vincent Bamalugaki Sempija, the commander of the Ugandan Defense Forces General Wilson Basumbadi, the delegation engaged in productive meetings with Ethiopian defense officials. The discussions focused on deepening military cooperation between the two nations. In Addis Ababa, Minister Simpija and General Mbadi were warmly received by Ethiopia's Minister of Defense, Abraham Belai, and the Deputy Commander of the Ethiopian Army, General Ebabo Tedese. During these meetings, the Ministers of Defense formally approved the Memorandum of Understanding, while the military commanders from both countries outlined the plan for its implementation across various areas of military cooperation. Minister Abraham expressed his belief that this agreement would further strengthen the existing relationship between Ethiopia and Uganda. He emphasized the importance of fostering collaboration in the realm of defense to bolster regional security and stability. The recent strategic alliances in the Horn of Africa highlight the evolving dynamics of the regional security. The Memorandum of Understanding between Ethiopia and Uganda signifies a firm commitment to deepening ties and fostering collaboration between their defense forces. The government of Ethiopia and Uganda, along with their respective defense forces, are poised to embark on a new phase of cooperation that will not only strengthen their bilateral relationship, but also contribute to the broader security landscape in the Horn of Africa. Now on to our last story. In response to the escalating needs in the Greater Horn of Africa, the European Union (EU) has announced additional humanitarian aid package totaling £171 million. Out of this allocation, £37 million has been specifically designed for Somalia, a country grappling with droughts, floods, conflict, and insecurity.
The European Union (EU) has announced a total of €171 million in humanitarian aid to tackle the escalating needs in the Greater Horn of Africa region, which faces numerous conflicts. Within this allocation, the EU has designated €37 million specifically for Somalia, a country grappling with droughts, floods, conflict, and insecurity. The situation in Somalia is alarming, with millions of people affected. Approximately 3.8 million Somalis have been internally displaced, and many more are experiencing acute food insecurity and malnutrition. The EU's focus is on providing life-saving activities for those recently displaced, individuals in hard-to-reach areas, and those facing severe food insecurity and epidemic outbreaks. His aid package for Somalia is part of the EU's broader humanitarian effort in the Greater Horn of Africa region, which includes assistance to Djibouti, €500,000, Ethiopia, €38 million, Kenya, €11.5 million, Kenya, €11.5 million, South Sudan, €49.5 million, and Uganda, €27.5 million. Additionally, €7 million will be allocated to regional disaster preparedness programs.
That story brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dalsan TV English News, Somalia's #1 TV station for news and updates. Till we meet again, we wish you a lovely evening.